Begins at Daegu in 1999. There exists a very beautiful young lady named Kang Ju-yoon which all the men in the entire city want to befriend and love. She is so pretty that she is called the Venus of Daegu, and every school student, both male and female, have crush on her that they can't redeem themselves from loving her. In school, she is the star. One fateful day, she is told by their teacher that there is someone waiting for her outside, and she goes there to see some boys smoking. She disagrees with them and cites one of the boys who comes to speak with her. That evening, she goes to the cafe to prepare for her exam. Despite being a pretty young lady, she wants to be a lawyer and she wants to learn the language of soul. The boy calls her out and introduces himself as Woo Shik, asking if she knows him. Are you the one on the currency? She wonders. Are you popular? She asks. If you are none of this, then I don't know you, she tells him with all pride and audacity. He tells her he is an athlete that has just won the national swimming competition. He gives her his medal and they become friends. Fast forward to 2014 at Seoul. Ju-yoon is a lawyer, but her body shape is no longer there. She is bigger and she tries every means to lose weight to no avail. The job of a lawyer doesn't also come easy for her, as her first client that day had cheated with someone's husband and still wants to sue the wife. She is frustrated as her boss tells her she must take the job, and she also leaves there to continue her weight loss journey. On her 15th year anniversary, she calls Woo Shik to no avail, and she eventually receives a message from him asking her to come to a restaurant. She goes there, waiting that he will lift the chair for her, but doesn't get it. He celebrates her, buys her flowers and wine and drives her away. On their way, he stops the car and gives her a ring box. She recognizes the box as that was the box with the promise ring he gave her 15 years ago when they first started dating. She opens it and she finds the ring that belongs to him. She wonders why he is returning his ring and he breaks up with her. She is heartbroken and she walks home angrily. She is woken up with a call the next morning, and her best friend reminds her that she has a deal in the US for her company. On the other hand is a personal trainer in the United States, Kim Young-ho, who is also called John Kim. He trains athletes, boxers, and wrestlers, but recently, he got into a controversial situation with a young model called Anna in the state, and he has no choice than to return to Seoul so the scandal can die down. He takes a plane to sneak away, along with his friends, Jun Sung, a boxer who he had trained, and Jae Woon, who acts as Jun Sung's manager. The plane they take turns out to be the same plane that Ju-yoon had taken. Before going on that trip, Ju-yoon had taken all of her drugs and pills to enhance her weight loss, and she suddenly collapsed on the plane. They ask for a doctor on board, and Young-ho comes down to help her. When she recovers, he asks her if she is suicidal and if she hates herself because of the several things she had taken. Prior to that incident, Ju-yoon had gotten a message from Woo Shik, who asked her to see him when she returns. She tells Young-ho that he doesn't have to know the reasons behind her action, and he drives her to the hospital in an ambulance when they arrive so she can go for a checkup. Suddenly, he sees her coming out of the hospital in the rain. She intends to go and see Woo Shik, so he offers to drive her. She arrives at Woo Shik's house, and despite the rain, she runs down to find him, which makes Young-ho follow her with an umbrella. Suddenly, she sees Woo Shik kissing and holding a lady by the corridor. She feels heartbroken and she starts walking away. She sees someone walking behind her and gets scared when Young-ho touches her from behind and offers her an umbrella. He tells her she should leave there and also leave the rain, also tells her she had left the plaster on her body. She refuses to go with him, borrows his umbrella and takes her bandage, then leaves him. He drives home as he remembers his family. Young-ho is the only grandson of a great Korean company, Gahong, the same company that Woo Shik works as the head of the medical team. He hopes his grandma won't find him in Korea, and as a result, he sneaks into a hotel. Unfortunately, he wakes up to see his grandma's assistant, Mr. Min, who tells him his grandma already knows of his presence and he has to leave. He is taken for a date with a young lady so he will clean the image of the scandal he entered, and after meeting with the lady, he runs away with his friends. On the other hand, Ju-yoon goes for a board meeting and her boss introduces a new lawyer to them, Soo-jin. Soo-jin was Ju-yoon's former classmate and she was very big, so she was bullied. Ju-yoon became closer to her and made her feel better. Now, Soo-jin is a pretty young lady who has toned down and she is now a model. She meets Ju-yoon after the meeting asking if Ju-yoon is jealous of her, but Ju-yoon says no. Later that day, Grandma announces in her company that Young-ho will become the new chairman. Although the other shareholders had been working against it, and Woo Shik also calls someone to find out every information about Young-ho before Young-ho is introduced to the company. Ju-yoon finds out she has misplaced her phone and she uses her friend's phone to call her number. Turns out the phone is with Young-ho, who asks her to come for it. As she arrives at the restaurant, she sees Soo-jin and to her shock, Woo Shik comes and holds Soo-jin, signifying she is the lady he is now going out with. Ju-yoon feels betrayed and she feels dizzy and falls down. Again, Young-ho comes to her rescue. He takes her to the suite, helps her with her dislocated shoulder, and she leaves later. She meets Woo Shik, who tries to ask her who he was, but she insists she doesn't want to have a conversation. She lets the relationship go eventually as he reveals that back then, she wanted to be the Cinderella of the legal industry, but now, she only has her intelligence but no beauty. She walks away in tears and returns to work. She confronts Soo-jin and they go to the restaurant to eat. At the restaurant, she wonders why Soo-jin is doing all of that to her and if it was because of a guy named Lee Jin-hoo then. Soo-jin laughs and leaves, but she recalls in the car how much she loved the guy, but the guy was more interested in Joo-yoon. As a result, she was so jealous of Joo-yoon. Upon returning to work, Joo-yoon receives a visit from Jae-woon, Young-ho's trainee's manager, who had sat beside her in the plane. During their conversation, he advises her to stop eating junk so she can get her weight back, and he talks about a model. On the other hand, Young-ho meets his father, Mr. Kim, for the first time since he arrived, and his father asks him if he wants an office at work, but he claims he isn't ready yet. When Joo-yoon gets home, she searches her box from the trip and she sees a card belonging to John Kim. She assumes Jae-woon is John Kim, so she rushes to his apartment happily to confirm, but Young-ho comes out and tells her he is John Kim. She refuses to accept that Young-ho is John Kim, and she insists it is Jae-woon, when Young-ho's trainee, Jun-sung, the boxer, also insists that it is Young-ho who is John Kim. She insists she wants Jae-woon to train her and she wants to become a model. The team goes to think about what to do, and eventually, they tell her to start coming for training, although they inform her they are a team and they will work together regardless of what she says or think. Jae-woon receives a call from Min, who informs him his house has been prepared and all he has to do is visit. He leaves and goes to his father's office. Before entering, he remembers a conversation he overheard between Min and his father after his mother's death, where his father tells Min that he shouldn't be allowed to mourn his mother because he is too young. Upon arriving at the office, he tells his father to withdraw his resignation at the US, but his father tells him it is grandma's order, and in their family, what they can't avoid, they accept, so he should accept it. He leaves and meets Min, telling him he should tell grandma that he has accepted to remain in Korea. He also calls Jun-sung to know if they like the house, and they go to the gym to train Joo-yoon. Throughout the training, Joo-yoon keeps imagining how pretty she will look as a model, while her ex-boyfriend remains with his new girlfriend, trying to teach her how to swim. The following day, with all determination, Joo-yoon goes on her morning run. For about 6 months, she continues with several training sessions. One day, she collapses during training, and this makes Jae-woon, Jun-sung, and Young-ho meet to wonder what is wrong. She is determined and desperate to lose weight. She is doing all she should so she can lose weight, but she isn't losing any weight. The next training day, Jun-sung and Jae-woon have an interview, so Young-ho goes to train Joo-yoon. He receives a call from his blind date and leaves her. When he gets to the restaurant, he sees Woo-shik. It turns out Joo-yoon's mother has come to see Woo-shik. When Joo-yoon finds out, she rushes there and tries to caution her mother. When her mother refuses to heed, she reveals to her mother that they have broken up, and she watches as her mother begs Woo-shik to please accept her back. Young-ho witnesses all of this and gets disturbed. He returns to the gym and finds her training. He cautions her to stop and insists she goes home. That night, she deletes Woo-shik's number. The following day at work, Soo-jin tells her she has to appear on TV for a lawyer's program. She begs not to go, but Soo-jin insists. She attends the program and she suddenly faints. Young-ho, Woo-shik, and Soo-jin are all watching the program, and when Woo-shik and Young-ho drive fast to the hospital, Soo-jin calls Woo-shik and finds out he is going to meet Joo-yoon and gets jealous again. Young-ho gets to the hospital first, helps Joo-yoon when she wakes, and drives her home. On his way, he asks her if she really has to lose weight, and she wonders if he is blind and can't see how she looks. When he drops her and she walks away, he drags her back, telling her that if she wants to lose weight, then she should do it the right way. He introduces himself to her again as John Kim. He reveals to her that she has hypothyroidism, which is why all the exercise she has been doing isn't working. She is angry that he has worked her up all these while without knowing she can't lose weight that way, and she holds his shirt. He reveals that at the hospital, Woo-shik visited her and he was glad that she has someone there for her. Soo-jin also comes there and she is disappointed that she has people. She goes to drink, wondering why despite all she has done, Woo-shik cares more about Joo-yoon than her. Woo-shik joins her to drink and he expresses he is just relieved that she is fine. When Young-ho informs Jae-woon and Jun-sung that they had only worked Joo-yoon unnecessarily, they go to their office that night with gifts so she can forgive them. Soo-jin sees them. She tells Joo-yoon that she should refer to her as Ms., and she also take a break to work from home because the video of her fall at the TV station is trending. Young-ho meets Joo-yoon at work. He reveals to her that he is really John Kim and tells her the reason he can't let anyone know if because he is born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and if his parents find out, they will be disappointed. He promises her that she will lose weight but tells her she must not back down. That evening, Grandma meets Min and asks about the lady Young-ho has been meeting for blind dates, claiming they will be a good fit for marriage. Young-ho's stepmother, Hi-ran, arrives to show Grandma her good pleasure, but Grandma tells her she isn't interested and she should prepare her son for dinner that night. During dinner, Grandma meets Young-ho's stepbrother, Young-jun, who has grown so well and has gotten scholarships, but Grandma isn't impressed. All she says is that she wants all of them to support Young-ho and make sure he finds his place. At work, Hi-ran's brother, Choi, who works as Woo-shik's boss, asks Woo-shik for feedback about Young-ho. When Woo-shik investigates further, he finds out Young-ho is the same guy he has been seeing with Joo-yoon. For several days, Young-ho takes Joo-yoon for medical checkup, clears her entire house, makes sure she gets good meals, and she replaces her diet. He takes her to his house daily so she can exercise on machines, and he brings back. One night after he drops her and she enters the house, someone knocks her door with a flower. She gets scared and she falls down. She hopes for help and as usual, her guardian angel who had always helped her, Young-ho, comes inside. They take the man to the police station and she reports him as a stalker, but the officers insist he is just her neighbor and he has no reason to stalk her because she doesn't even look good. Young-ho comes there and recognizes the man as the same one he saw following her in front of Woo-shik's house, but the policemen insist they aren't going to do anything about it. She walks away angrily and offers to return to the house, but Young-ho refuses to allow her go. She takes his car and asks him to drop her in front of a place she calls her friend's house, but it is a motel. She doesn't have cash to make payment, so he enters and tells her he can't allow her to stay there. He decides to take her to his lodge and he makes her sleep there. The following morning, while they all have dinner, she shows her old pictures in Daegu and he also realizes he can't stop thinking about her. He calls Min that morning and tells Min he needs to go to Daegu. At work, her brother, Yi-hyuk, and her friend, Hyung-yu visits her and she tells them what she is going through. She reassures them she will be fine and she also gives Yi-hyuk money to take care of his pregnant girlfriend and also opens a store. Soo-jin can't stop thinking of how to make her feel bad. She recalls when Joo-yoon set her up with a man when they were in school and the man embarrassed her. Angrily, she forces a case that Joo-yoon insists he won't do on her and this makes Joo-yoon angry. Frustrated, Joo-yoon goes to her office to eat but wishes to eat good food and junk, but she sees imaginations of Young-ho and she stops. Later that day, Hi-ran meets Mr. Choi and Young-jun. Choi insists to her that Young-ho isn't the owner of the company, and he has no one in the company. He recalls that Young-ho's mother is the only daughter of Grandma, the real owner of the company, and Young-ho is the only heir she has. Regardless, he claims they have to make Young-jun the owner of the company. Young-ho is also meant to meet his blind date that night, but she misses the date. He takes the flowers and meets Joo-yoon. He talks her home. The following day, he decides to take her to the gym and offers to show her his type of women. She watches as the women box, and after they finish, she starts training and boxing with him. She suddenly falls on him and their lips lock. She feels very awkward about it, but he tells her it is nothing, but he barely sleeps and spends the entire night thinking of the kiss. She also keeps thinking about it. The following day, he goes on his medical checkup trip with Min. On the trip, Min tells her he will soon become the CEO and the next few days will be hectic, so he should be ready. At the checkup, the doctor confirms his leg is healed and he also recalls when he had to do the leg surgery when he was young. He complains of some pain, but the doctor insists it is just mental and he doesn't have to be worried about that. During his absence, he keeps having video calls with Joo-yoon and ensuring she keeps up with her exercise and diets. She has also experienced a little weight loss and she is glad her efforts are putting in some effects, which makes her very excited. The next day, Young-ho wakes up excited for what the future holds for him. He puts a flower in Min's pocket and he prepares to return to the city. Upon arriving home, the house seems empty and all he sees is Joo-yoon having her exercise. Her leg slips during the exercise and she falls on his body. They exchange suspicious looks. She has reduced a lot and her face has gotten better. She makes dinner for him as she complains of body ache and he helps her with a massage. On the other hand, Hi-ran goes to give Grandma food and Grandma tells her she knows all they are saying about her, how they feel she is a wicked person and how she lost her daughter. She applauds Hi-ran for how she has trained her son but warns her not to be greedy by raising her son's hope. That evening, Jun-sung goes to watch a particular woman who has always been beaten up by her husband and he returns home to the news of Young-ho being physically okay. They are so excited for him, and the following day, they bring a scale to measure how much Joo-yoon has reduced. She sees she has shed about 15 kilograms and she is so excited. She reminds Jae-woong and Jun-sung for their promise to fulfill her wish if she loses 15 kilograms. Young-ho reminds them that he wasn't part of the promise and he wants no part of it, but they tell him he has to comply too. She tells them she wants them to live like her for a day and send her pictures, then she leaves for work. In another place, a news company planned to send a propaganda against John Kim so he can sue them and reveal himself. When Joo-yoon gets to work, her boss insults her for refusing to do the electronic CEO daughter's case, but she doesn't care. Her boss says Soo-jin has offered to take the case. Soo-jin calls her to the office and gives her several case files to work on before Soo-jin goes to meet the CEO's daughter. The lady insults Soo-jin, claiming despite the fact that she assaulted her employees, Soo-jin has to defend her because Soo-jin feeds on her money. Soo-jin cares less and leaves the spa. At home, Young-ho and the boys do everything Joo-yoon asks them to do and they send her videos. She returns home to have dinner with them. Woo-shik still needs to gather information about Young-ho. He delivers this to his boss but receives a call from the police station. As he leaves his office, Soo-jin calls to know where he is and he lies to her that he is working, not knowing that she is behind him. He arrives at the station and finds out the stalker wants to sue him for assault, with the record of him threatening the man not to come near Joo-yoon again. Soo-jin comes in and introduces herself as his lawyer. They also call in Joo-yoon and the officers claim they need a witness to be sure the man was a stalker so they can in Young-ho too. After the issue gets sorted, Woo-shik tries to speak with Soo-jin but she says he should talk with Joo-yoon first. Joo-yoon asks him why he had done that and tells him to mind his business. He also begs her to be careful with Young-ho because it isn't likely that Young-ho will like her. He meets with Young-ho and introduces himself as one of the doctors at the hospital. But Young-ho says if the conversation isn't about Joo-yoon, he isn't ready to talk as Joo-yoon may feel cold outside while waiting for them. He goes to meet Ju-yoon but calls Min to sort out the issue at the police station. As they drive home, Ju-yoon stops to get a coffee. As she comes out, she sees him beside a repairman, so she assumes his car was acting up. As a result, she gives him the coffee and goes outside to wait for the repair. He goes to meet her, touches her face, and she recalls that Woo-shik has said he may not like her, so she begs him to stop teasing her. He removes his umbrella to cover her, announces to her that men don't tease women they want to take things further with, and he goes ahead to kiss her. A night which turns out to be Soo-jin's worst night, as the man she wanted still likes his ex, turns out to be one of the most entertaining nights for Ju-yoon. When he breaks the kiss, she feels so shy that she asks him for his coat so she can cover her face. She gets home, locks herself inside, and keeps thinking about the kiss. The following day, she wakes up and he appreciates her for the gift she gave him the night before and tells her he also has a gift for her. He insists she trains throughout the morning. Later, she goes to work and hears noises from Soo-jin's office. She goes there and sees that Soo-jin is trying to settle with the victim of the CEO's daughter's case with money. The woman feels so angry and Ju-yoon goes to take her out. She takes her to a cafe and persuades the woman to settle. She says she knows how the woman feels and how she wants an apology, but apology doesn't work in every way. She apologizes to the woman and leaves. As she walks, she recalls how her father died at work and the company tried to settle with her mother. How her mother refused the settlement and the company tried to implicate her father by claiming he was negligent. She goes to the office and speaks with Soo-jin, reminding her of how they wish they would be good lawyers when they grow older, and wonders what went wrong with Soo-jin. Again, Soo-jin tells her that if she wants to go back to the past, she could go, but all Soo-jin wants is in that future. She claims life is about being loved or unloved, and it isn't her fault that Ju-yoon is unloved. Also, Young-ho meets his grandma at his mother's memorial. Again, his grandma begs him to take the company and he refuses. He claims if he takes it, he will build charity organization and all and destroy the landmark of the business. His grandma tells him she is dying and he doesn't have a mother, and that is her last wish, so he should go for it. He spends so much time thinking about that, and he also drives at night to think better. Eventually, he calls Min and tells Min that he will take the bitter cup, but he will start from the lowest ground. He returns home with a bag gift he had bought for Ju-yoon and bids her goodnight. The following day, Ju-yoon goes to court, and as she leaves, she receives a call from Hyung-yu that her mother-in-law has been hospitalized, and she also has a parent career day with her son, Min-jun. She says she needs Ju-yoon to represent her for the parent career day, and there also has to be the 2 parents in attendance for the program. With no other person to call, Ju-yoon calls Jun-sung and Jae-woon. They come with Young-ho and they display being a boxer with the kids. After the display, she takes Min-jun to the playground to play, and she calls Hyung-yu, who insists there is no one to stay with her mother-in-law at the hospital, so Ju-yoon should remain with her daughter. Young-ho drops her at the house and leaves. They both send each other text messages throughout the night before sleeping off. Meanwhile, Woo-shik keeps meeting with Choi about the CEO nomination. After the meeting, he wonders if Hai-ran will be alright, but his boss says Hai-ran is never alright. Upon arriving at work, Ju-yoon receives a call from Soo-jin to come to the conference room for an important client interview and briefing. The client arrives and it turns out to be Young-ho. He is announced by Min as the chairman of the company. Ju-yoon can't believe her ears. She is shocked, so she excuses herself and she remembers that he had earlier told her he was born with a silver spoon. He goes to meet her and apologizes to her and calms her down. Soo-jin and Min come out to see if they are alright and he takes her to the elevator. He tries to apologize, but she says she doesn't like liars, so whatever they were doing, whether it was dieting or dating, she isn't interested because of his lies. They proceed to the meeting, and after the meeting, Min invites their firm for a meal, but she says she has to visit her mother. Soo-jin sarcastically tells her since she is close to Young-ho, she should tell him by himself. She tells him she needs to excuse herself, and he asks her if he asked her out, gave her a ring, or told her he is her first love. If he didn't do any, then he did nothing wrong, so she should call him. After the meal, Young-ho tells them he has something personal to deal with and he leaves. He calls Jun-sung, who informs him that Ju-yoon has gone to Daegu. Ju-yoon goes for her brother's store opening and returns home. At home, she receives a message from Young-ho that he is at Daegu. She goes to meet him on the bridge and hugs him. As they take a walk, he reveals how he was sick as a child and how he lost his mother during the sickness and he couldn't pay last honor to his mother. His father was scary and he pitied his grandma. He never really enjoyed being rich and he wanted to run away from it all until he returned to Korea and met her, thereby knowing the satisfaction that could be in life. She asks if he is now alright and he tells her yes. As he is about to leave, she asks if they could lay together and hold hands, which he accepts. They spend the night together. That night, Soo-jin is depressed. She imagines the probability of Young-ho and Ju-yoon being friends and wonders why she doesn't have the privileges that pretty ladies have now that she is pretty. The following day, Mr. Ko, the reporter, meets Woo-shik and tells him that John Kim has to be a member of their company because the house John Kim lived belongs to Grandma, the chairman of their company, and now that John Kim no longer lives there, the house still remained in Grandma's name. Mr. Ko is Hyung-yu's ex-husband, so Woo-shik begs Mr. Ko to ensure both Hyung-yu and Ju-yoon don't know about it. Feeling jealous, Soo-jin tries to ask Ju-yoon about her relationship with Young-ho, but Ju-yoon tells her it's her private life. Sarcastically, Soo-jin asks her why someone as big as Young-ho will be invoked in her private life. Later, Ju-yoon receives a call from Jun-sung who asks to see her. He tells her he has found his mother, but his mother doesn't want to see him, so he wants to help her from afar, and he tells she is the only one who can do that for him. She promises to help him. While at work, Woo-shik reports to his boss, Mr. Choi, about Young-ho's involvement with John Kim and how the scandal can be brought to the company to take Young-ho's position. That same day, Young-ho comes to work as the executive officer for the first time, and Choi introduces himself and Woo-shik. In the night, Ju-yoon goes to Young-ho's house excitedly so she can watch the snow with him. She doesn't find him and she calls his number. His phone rings and she searches around the house to see he has fainted.